Here are some Forsaken tips for my fellow controller players. First and foremost, we're going to talk about settings. For sensitivity, it's personal preference, but I would say anything under the default of 5 bars is too slow to be useful. Personally, I use 6 bars. Now, as for keybinds, the default ones are fine, but one thing I do like to change is switching the Alt Ability 1 and Alt Ability 2 keybinds. This helps especially if you main guest 1337 or 2-time, as it means you don't have to press multiple buttons with the same hand, and instead it's spread across the entire controller, making it easier. If you can, I'd also recommend using claw grip so you don't have to take your thumb off the right stick when shift locking. But if you can't do that, then you can either live with it, play a character that doesn't require much shift lock, or change your shift lock keybind to something else. Now, since settings are out of the way, it's time to get into some actual gameplay tips. I actually only found out about this yesterday, but you can request for heals, dispensers, shields, or hemorrhage heals on controller. All you have to do is enable the cursor, hover over the teammate, then hold the right trigger. Next, when you're on a generator, since the cursor speed is very slow, always try to keep your left stick at maximum lock so it's going as fast as possible. Also, since it is very slow, even with full lock, smoothness is the key to completing generators quickly. Try to glide between nodes as you select them. One of the best parts about controller is its 360-degree movement potential. You can use this to effectively path as tight as possible to lose as little distance on the killer as possible. On generators, I said to be smooth with your movements, but when you're pathing, you want to flick your joysticks so you can quickly change directions. You want to be using both your left and right sticks together to path well, whilst keeping your eyes on the killer. Especially if you have a low sensitivity, you cannot waste any camera movement as it takes so long to move. If you can, try to keep the killer in the very corner of your screen, whilst also being able to see where you want to go next. Good map knowledge is extremely helpful, as you can turn your camera more towards the killer without having to worry about what's in front of you. If you've made it this far into the video, please consider subscribing and joining the Discord server, which is in the pinned comments. Now, some tips for killer. When you're M1ing a survivor, be out of shift lock. You can use the left stick to swing your attacks, and it makes you less prone to juking. You only want to shift lock when you're aiming abilities like Mass Infection, Walk Speed Override, or Infernal Cry. Do not shift lock when aiming Nova or any ability that follows your cursor, as if you do, the ability will actually aim slightly down and to the left of where your camera was facing. And finally, a tip for console users only. I've seen many people ask about this, so I'll mention it here. You can disable the chat box by opening the menu by pressing Options, or whatever the Xbox button is, and then pressing R1/RB.